I was so excited about going up in the attic because it's by far my favorite thing in the whole world. I was so excited that I forgot to explain to you guys how to attach wire. So I have a box of wire here. I got my wire that I'm gonna run. To make it a little easier, I have a toner. So after I hook up the speakers, I can hook the toner up to the wire if there's no labels on it, and it makes the speakers make a chime. So I don't need to label it for me. But for you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and put a label because this is the end of the wire that's going towards the surround sound receiver. So to make it easier, and I'm gonna write, all the speakers are orientated as you're sitting in your chair watching a movie. So this is my front right. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and write front right, right on the wire. 2 labels, in case one gets worn off or in case you can't read one. One, another foot back, we're gonna write another one. Front, right. All right? Now I'm gonna tape it. Tape it, use electrical tape. If you don't have electrical tape, go buy electrical tape. Don't use duct tape, don't use some janky option. Electrical tape. If I find out you guys are not using electrical tape, we're gonna have words. All right. So what you do is you overlap. I'm overlapped about 4 inches, okay? So I'm gonna take the electrical tape. I like to start at the bottom. So I'll start at the bottom of the glow rod and I'm gonna tape it. Believe it or not, there's a skill to this. There really is a skill to this. And I like to pull it really tight as I go. Keep pulling it tight. And I'm gonna tape it the whole way up. Then as I get to the top of your wire is like just a little nub. And if I try to pull that nub through the hole in the wall, it won't work. It's just gonna keep hitting and it's gonna stop, it's gonna stop, it's gonna stop. So what I'm gonna do is right when I get to the top, I'm gonna put a whole bunch of tape there to try to build it up so that it's like, instead of being like a nub, I'm gonna go in front of it and I'm gonna make like a ramp so that it's a smooth entrance. As smooth as an entrance as I can make it, so it's not a catch. Then when you're all done, I've got a little flap like that. I'm gonna fold it over because the guy in the attic has to take that off. And unless you're some kind of terrorist, why would you make him fumble in the attic trying to figure out where the end of that tape is so he can take it off while it's 110 degrees in there? Dude, don't do that. You're a bad human being if you do that. You are bad. Okay, so we're taped up, wire's connected. It's gonna be sticking up into the attic. Time to pull it, time to have some fun. Looking forward to this. All right, so here we are in the attic. I don't have the type of attic insulation that breathes in and makes you cough or anything, so I'm not wearing a dust mask, but if you guys want to wear one, it's a good idea, especially if you're gonna be like all way deep inside of it. So I have a really nice attic. My attic is really tall. I can stand up to full height. I've got plenty of places to walk, and so your guys' attic probably won't be as easy as mine. I just kind of lucked out. So let's take a look at what we're walking on here. So as you can see, mine has a catwalk. Mine has this little 2x4 that's been nailed across. These are the trusses. This is the part that actually is holding up the ceiling downstairs. And this right here, this is the back of the drywall. Don't step on that. That will not hold your weight. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Don't step on it. Don't lay on it. Don't kneel on it. You're going through. Yes, I've done it. I've done it once. So I've had a couple helpers who have done it. It happens, but we step on 2x4s only. Okay, be careful. Even if it's a 1x4. I had a helper step on a 1x4. He went through the 1x4, then went through the ceiling. So I like to step on 2x4s only. Trusses and 2x4s only. So what I'm looking for up here is I'm looking for that glow rod. I drilled that hole, shoved the glow rod through. If any of you guys know anything about insulation, you guys know that my attic doesn't have nearly enough insulation in it. This is a really old house. On top of that, it's gone through at least 1 renovation, so we lost a lot of insulation, and I didn't replace any until I'm done with the work that I want to do. So it's actually a lot easier to see the studs in my house than it would be in your house. So sometimes you kind of have to like shuffle around and push the insulation around. Sometimes you have that pink stuff. There's a lot of different varieties out there. So what I'm looking for is there's a sea of insulation out there. I need to find a glow rod sticking through, and down below we've already taped on the wire. Generally, I will not go up in the attic until I'm ready to run all the wiring at once. So since I'm doing this video for you guys at home, I'm kind of showing you step by step. But so I'm kind of going one at a time just to show you guys how to do it. But generally, don't go in the attic until you're ready to run all of them. It's also winter time here, so my attic is pleasant. Whereas I come from Southern California, and it can be 120, 130 degrees in an attic. So we don't spend much time in there. We try to get in and out really fast. So I'm gonna go take a look around, and I can see my glow rod. I don't know if you can catch it with the camera, but I got a glow rod sticking through right there, that green sucker. So it's not comfortable, but I gotta climb over there and I gotta go get it. So I'm gonna get it, pull the wire out, and run it to its final destination. Being very careful not to step on any of the drywall. Making my way over. Ugh. Very careful, only to step on the wood. Don't worry. Well, some insulation really itches. I'm lucky mine doesn't. Grab the glow rod. Hopefully it comes right up. Come on, mama. Ugh. Ah, got it. Very helpful to have somebody downstairs helping in case anything gets weird on you. For sure, this is a two-person job. Don't be a hero and try to do it by yourself. Woo! Lucky for me, that was the hardest one. All right, now you run the wire to wherever it's gonna go. I don't like to run one wire at a time. Like I said, I run all the wire at once. And when it comes down to dropping the wire down the wall, like towards your receiver, don't drop them one at a time, you drop them all at once. The reason is, if you drop them, oh look, we have that nice little pull tab so I can unwrap it. The reason we do it like that is you don't want to put a wire in a hole, then pull another wire past it, and then pull another wire past it, then pull another wire past it. It'll actually burn the wire. It can expose the copper and burn the jacket, and just pull it all at once. So what you do is you take a pre-measurement and you coil it nicely until you get all the wires there. That's exactly what we're gonna do. My wires are gonna go into a closet that's located right there. Okay, I don't want to trash up my attic, so I'll keep my trash. Set my glow rod down. Now to pre-measure, okay, I'm standing right above where the wire needs to go down to my rack. You guys might run your wire to a cabinet under the TV. I'm going to a rack in a closet. So what you have to do is you've got to pre-wire the length that you need. In my case, I'm going to go from the attic down to the floor, and then to the top of the rack, and then back down to the bottom of the rack. So you don't get caught up with the details. Just know that I'm going to go 8 feet from the bottom of the attic to the bottom of the floor, 8 feet, top of the rack 5 feet, back down another 5 feet. So 5 feet, 5 feet, 8 feet. We're at 10 feet plus 8 feet's 18. I'm going to call it 22 feet, something like that. That gives me a little extra. Don't shortchange yourself. I hate it when people do just a little tiny bit of wire. Oh, I only need 3 feet. I'm going to go 3 feet. If you need 3 feet, give yourself 5 feet and then cut off the extra slack because you don't want to end up short. That's a nightmare. So to measure the wire from arm to arm on your typical man like this is 5 feet for me. I'm about a little over 5 feet. I'm 5'10" tall, so my arm span is like 5 foot, 5.5, somewhere around there. So I'm gonna go 22 feet, so I'm gonna go a little over four arm spans. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little for luck. All right, I don't mind having too much wire. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna coil this up nicely for now, because we're not gonna run all this wire one at a time. We're gonna run the wire all at once. Otherwise, if you run the wire, one wire down, and then another wire on top of that, then another wire on top of that, you keep passing by that same wire over and over and over, you're gonna burn it. And you can even actually expose copper. So I coiled up nicely. I'll just hang it right there for now. When I get all the rest of the wire pulled, I'm gonna pull it all down all at once. So, 1 speaker, done! Done, that's the hardest one. Glad it's over. We didn't damage it when we're drilling up. It was really easy to find the glow rod. So, we're gonna go back down now. I'm not gonna run all the wires one at a time, one at a time, one at a time like we've been doing. I did that just to show you guys how to do it. But now I'm gonna do them all at once. Make my life a little easier, because going up and down in this attic is dirty. So, I'm gonna make my way out. Before I get out of the attic, brush off inside the attic, and then get back to work. Now that the wire is in, give yourself enough slack that you can wire up a speaker without any problem. Don't like cut it too close, it'd be a nightmare. So give yourself about 2 feet out of the wall, cut it. Done, moving on. Okay, the next item on our agenda would be to wire up this center speaker. Once again, we're not trying to get the wire all the way down here to the bottom, okay? We're gonna try to get the wire to the nearest hole to the ceiling. But we're lucky. Every TV needs to have 2 of these cutouts. This is called a single gang cutout. Okay, if I'm holding up my template here, the single gang, this whole thing is a double gang. That right there, that would be the single gang. Every TV needs 2 single gang cutouts. You're gonna have one cutout that's for the low voltage wiring or communication cabling, and you're gonna have one cutout for your power. Now in this case, we ran this wiring a long time ago. So that's why it's stuck behind the mount. We didn't know where the wiring was gonna go. We knew it was gonna be on this wall, centered, but we didn't know the height because we didn't have the TV or the TV mount when we ran the wiring. That's why the mount is overlapping here. But it's no big deal, it's all behind the TV so you can't see. Anyways, the wiring that we ran already, just so we're all on the same page, this is kind of not applicable, but we ran a Cat5 cabling that we will use to send IR commands, infrared commands, from our main brain in the closet to our TV. That's how we're going to turn the TV on and off, change inputs if you needed to. We ran a coax cable. Not going to use it, it's just a good idea to have. We ran a Cat6 cable that we use to carry the network, the internet, to the TV. I don't plan on streaming anything to the TV, but when you get your updates, you can do it that way. If you did want to stream to the TV, you could. Oh, you know what? We do have Skype, and we do Skype with the in-laws. So this is going to get internet to the TV. So that's this first hole. But as you can see, we don't have any power. We don't have any power to the TV. So we need to cut in another single gang cut-in. We already have the mount up. We know the TV. I know the TV sticks up about 1 foot above the mount, about, I don't know, 8 inches or so below the mount. It goes out probably 8 to 10 inches on either side of the mount. So really I can put this anywhere. I can put the power anywhere around here. The areas that you want to avoid are going to be areas that might, when I put the TV, this is the center of the TV, when I put the TV on the bracket, the arms that attach the mount, that attach the wall mount to the TV, the arms that are mounted on the back of the TV are going to hang right about here. So I don't want to put my power supply right where the arms are going to be. That's going to be a problem. Just to make things easier, I'm going to put mine right here. I'm going to turn it sideways, and I'm going to mount it above the center of the mount. There's a bolt there, there's a bolt there, and a bolt there. Boom, 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 boom. That tells me there's studs there. I don't want to go near the studs. So I'm going to go as centered as possible above this. That way it's going to be really easy to hide the power cord when I plug it in. So another thing I don't want to do is when I'm cutting a hole, I don't want to cut these wires. So I'm just going to go left of that just a little bit. There's not really a huge science to this. Really, the bottom line is I'm avoiding the arms that go on the back of the TV, and I'm making sure that it's going to be hidden. So as long as we have those, we're all straight. And also, another thing that's important is that it needs to line up with my final destination, right? If I put it over here, that would be lame, because my speaker's over here. I'd have to cross studs to get over there. That'd be lame. That'd waste the hole. So putting these holes in works to our advantage, not only because it needs to go in, and we need to have power here, but also we're going to use these same holes to help us run some wire. So, I'm going to go, right about there, looks good. I'm going to center it up, drop my wire, okay, you can go a little closer to the mount if you want. I mean, you can really put this anywhere. You gotta remember, when I put the TV on the wall, it's gonna cover up anything that we have here. If you're really particular about the way things look when the TV's not there, you're gonna have to work something out, but for all intents and purposes, I can put this thing just about anywhere. As long as the TV covers it up, nobody's gonna know but you, and after you've watched TV for about 20 minutes, you're gonna forget. So, I'm also gonna vacuum as I cut, keep down the dust. Go ahead and cut out this hole. Once again, we don't use power tools to cut these holes, okay? You can see there's wires here that go down. Could have cut those if I'd used a power tool. There could be pipes. Remember, we tapped the pipe over there. We didn't cut a hole in it. If we're using a power tool, we would have. Always use a hand-powered saw. Okay, as a side note, they do have an option where you can combine an outlet and your low voltage wiring in one double gang box. They call it a combo power box, where it has like a regular box on one side and then the other side is a low voltage box, so the powers aren't mixed, but they share a faceplate. It looks nice, it's one hole, everything's nice and tight. Oh, great, wonderful, sounds like a really good idea. Bad idea, don't do that. Reason is, it's nice to have two holes, because I might cut one hole and find out, oh shoot, there's something in the way here, there's a pipe in the way, or whatever in the way. Well, the low voltage wiring doesn't use a box, it's a backless box, it's just a ring. So usually I can use, even if there's an obstacle behind it, I can still use that cutout for my low voltage box. Well, now I have a whole nother box that I get to cut in, and I can put it anywhere that I want that's going to help facilitate my installation. For example, if I cut this in and I find out there's a fire block right there, that's okay, I'll still put that in, I can chip away the fire block a little bit, and now I know that I can put this somewhere else that's going to facilitate getting by there. Maybe I can put one here, and there's a stud here, and I need to get through the stud for whatever reason. I can put one here, and there's a stud here, and a stud here. I can put one here, and I can put one over there, so I can get through those studs. So really having the flexibility of having two boxes makes the installation so much easier. I get to cut two free holes that I don't have to patch. And those boxes are going to help make my installation easier. So don't get those double gangs. Sounds like a really good idea. Bad idea. You're going to get that double gang, you're going to cut a hole and be like, oh man, I wish I could cut another hole over here. Well, you got all your work done. You got double gang there, it's got all your wiring in it, you're stuck. Now if you cut a hole, you got to patch it. So that's just a nice tip for you. Okay, I got to get the wire. Remember, I don't have to get all the way down to my speaker right now. Right now, I'm just going to worry about getting it from here, because this is right above my speaker, from here into the attic. I am like 6 feet away from that wall. There's no way in the world I'm going to drill up. Sorry guys, not going to do it. Not going to do it for you this time. I'm just going to go up into the attic. I'm going to locate the top of this stud, and then I'm going to drill down. And I'm going to send a glow rod down and pick up that wire. So, how do I do that? Remember when we were up there and it looked like a sea of insulation? It's going to be really hard to find anything. If only there was an easier way. There is. This is called a piano wire. Okay, this is a really rigid wire. It's probably a 1/16 of an inch or smaller in thickness. I cut it at an angle so it's super sharp at the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to poke this through the ceiling. Remember, at the ceiling there's a stud. Right up against the wall there's a stud, and that's what this, the drywall is attached to that stud, so you can't go right up against the wall. I'm going to come out about 2 or 3 inches, and I'm going to line this up directly with that hole. Directly up that hole, about 2 or 3 inches back, and I'm just going to stab that sucker right through the ceiling. Now, when I go up into the attic, it's tiny. When I pull that out, I don't know if you can even see that on the camera. Sorry guys. All I did was I came 2 inches in, lined it up directly with this, stabbed that wire through the ceiling. And that wire makes such a small hole that when I pull it out, I don't have to patch it. It's tiny. If it really bothers you, you can put a little dab of mud on there, but I wouldn't even bother. It's a tiny little hole. But when I go up in the attic, I'm going to see that wire. Then all I have to do is locate the stud that's right next to the wire, drill through it, and I know that I'm directly above this. So, what type of wiring do I need to run here? Well, I know I need to get my speaker cable here, but what type of wire should I run something else at the same time? Yes, I am also going to take this opportunity to run my power line. Okay, now we've done other videos where we took the power from an outlet down and sent it up the wall. We're not doing that this time. This time we're going to take the power and I'm going to send it to my closet. I'm going to use a power extender, which I'll do a short video about in a minute. And I'll explain to you guys what a power extender is. I'm going to use a power extender so I can pick up clean power, clean filtered power from my really expensive power conditioner that I have sitting inside of my closet. So, in short, I'm running a speaker cable and a power cable. That's all I'm running. The power's going to stay here. The speaker's going to go all the way down to the bottom. All my communication cabling, my HDMI cable and everything. That's what this big black one is, HDMI cable. They're already installed. I don't need to run those. And they already go back to the closet. So, time to go up in the attic and locate that pin, drill down through the top. And at the same time, I'm going to take the opportunity to run these back speakers so I'm not going up and down too much. We'll pick up that guy at the same time. You know, while I'm here, I'll explain how this one works too. This one's going to be really simple. I'm just going to take that piano wire. This is a 2-person job, okay? So I'm going to take that piano wire, move it over, pop it in the wall directly above this speaker. The person in the attic is going to drill down, and we'll drill down and send down the wire, or either send down a glow rod, and I'll attach the wire, pull it up, and that's all that's to it. Then the front 3 speakers will be done. All right, here we go. So I went back and watched that little clip that I just shot, realized I should really show you guys what I'm doing to the ceiling. Once again, here's my piano wire. I'm going to come in about 3 inches directly in line with my box. Come in 3 inches, and I'm just going to stab that sucker through. There we go. Not really a lot of magic to that. Okay, I'm going to leave it just like that. And also, I didn't explain the power cabling that I'm using. It's not a special cable. It's not an extension cord. Don't let me catch you using an extension cord. That is such a no-no. So bad. So bad. Don't do that. You have to use what's called Romex cabling. In my case, I'm using 14 gauge because this is a 15 amp circuit. So 15 amp circuit uses 14 gauge wiring. I'm using 14 gauge. It's just a black, a white, and a ground. 14 gauge wiring. Go down to any hardware store, tell them you need 14 gauge Romex, and they'll hook you up. Okay, here we go. Time to run some wire. All right, here we are above the wall. This right here, this is that piano wire we stuck to the ceiling. I no longer need it. I'm gonna push it out so I don't poke my eye out with it. All right. You see that those wires that are going down, those are the wires that we ran earlier. This wall is actually a little tricky. If you look, you can see that there's a stud here. And if you look here, there's also a stud. This right here, this is your joist. Not your joist, I'm sorry, your truss. This right here overlaps this one here. Well, looking at it, you can see that there's wires going down. That's a clue to tell you that's the top of the wall. You look over here at other wires, they're going through this one. So you can see that's also the top of the wall. So it looks to me like if I want to get through the top of this wall, generally you don't see that. This is a really tricky location. Generally you're going to see something just like this. This will be the top of the wall and there won't be any other distractions. But in this particular case, it's a weird one. So we have this one here, this one here. It looks like if I want to get through the wall, I either have to go through this or this, but I have to go through on this side. If I come through here, I'm probably going to go into the next room through the ceiling. Obviously, if I go through that way, I'll go through the ceiling in my living room. So, let me hand off this camera. I'm going to try my first shot. There's a hole right here. I don't know why that hole didn't work. I don't think I want to try it again, because if it didn't work once, for some reason, I don't know why we didn't use that hole. Me or whoever built the house didn't use that hole. We did this hole here. So, I don't want to drill a hole too close to this either, because I might hit it. And then you're in a whole big problem. So, just to make my life easy, I think I'm going to go here, try this hole here. If that doesn't work, I'll try to come back over here. But this is centered with my box. So I've got to stay in this general area. So I'll hand this camera back off and start drilling. All right, here we go. It's an 18-volt drill. See if I can get a good place for my light. It's an 18-volt drill, so I better get two hands on it. Otherwise, it'll twist you up pretty good. I have a typical top of the wall is going to be two 2x4s laying flat on top of each other. Now, in case you didn't know, one 2x4 is not 2 inches by 4 inches. It's an 1.5 inches by 3.5. So, two 2x4s on their side is going to be 1.5 inches plus 1.5 inches, 3 inches thick. And then I've got this other one right here on top of that, so that's 4.5 inches thick. But typically, you're only dealing with 3 inches. So make sure you have a bit that's long enough. This one here, felt like I went through, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna extend the bit out just a little bit. I think I went through, but I don't know. Oh yeah. Okay, so we're in there. I'm gonna take my glow rod. Remember that this is a two-man job. Here it comes. It's a two-man job. Look that, he's got control of that. Joey, move that up and down so they can see. That's him moving it up and down, not me. So right now, Joey, my floor man, is taping on the Romex and the center channel speaker wire. My bit is, make sure your bit, like I said, is long enough, and then you should be about 3/4 of an inch. I mean, you could do 1/2 inch if you wanted. You could even do 3/8, but there's no reason to drill a small hole. You ready? There's no reason to drill a small hole. It just makes your life a little harder to deal with pulling that wire. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. Yeah. There we go. So we're just gonna follow the same procedure that we did. We're just gonna follow the same procedure that we did last time. I'm gonna walk it over to where the wire goes, put the extra length on the wire that I need, coil it up, and then go to the next speaker. So to be honest, now we're doing the front left speaker. I don't know where it's at. And I'm going to show you guys, maybe we're going to try to do something where we don't even use the piano wire. In this case, I'm looking for signs of things that I recognize. Down there, I know that there was a pipe. Remember that pipe that I hit with my drywall knife? There was that pipe, and there was also an electrical cable there. So I'm going to look to see from the top of the wall if I can see a spot there. I know I could just stick the piano wire through, but I'm just trying to show you guys something else. I honestly don't know where it's at. I know this is in the hallway here, this big tube. This goes to the hallway. So I need to be on this side of it. My foot is on that wall. I know this is the wall because I followed it over. So somewhere along this wall, I should find some Romex going through. And maybe a pipe coming through. Oh, look, there's the pipe right there. I knew it had to be close to here. There's that pipe I hit. I know that if I drill right next to this pipe, I'm going to be inside that wall. There's probably a Romex here somewhere. I'm not even going to bother looking for it because I don't really care that much. I know that's the pipe. So here I go. Should be right about there. Felt it go through. Glow rod into the hole. Am I there, Joey? Ha ha! Glorious! There's nothing wrong with using the piano wire, but if you don't have one, or you just don't want to use one, just look for signs. Obviously, the piano wire is a better idea because then you know that's the right way for sure. You ready?
Ready.
The piano wire, you know it's a sure thing, so I always recommend doing that one for sure. So, I'll run this one over to the hole where it goes, measure off the extra length that I need, and then I'll show you how to do one of the back speakers, and then we're going to be done up here. Alright, all three front speakers are done. It's time to start tackling the back. These are all the same. I'm not going to bother filming all of them. I'm just going to show you guys a quick tip. In this particular installation, the surround right speaker is the furthest speaker that we have to the right. The surround back speakers come in a little bit. So that surround right speaker is going to be the hardest one to get to because it's closest to the small part of the attic. Just a quick tip to show you guys so to save you from some crawling. I don't want to crawl all the way over there. I'll be dead honest, I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the guy in the ground. We've already cut the hole. He's just going to shove a few glow rods up into that hole as far as they go, and that'll save me the hassle of having to climb. So go ahead, Joey, send him up.
Okay.
I think we have 2 set up here, but you know, you could do 3 or 4 or whatever, however many. Here it is right here coming towards me. Bam. And that saves me, got it, Joe. That saves me the hassle of having to climb all the way over there into the corner. Go ahead and tape on.
It's already taped on.
Oh, already taped on. What a guy, man. What a guy. All right, one more tip. When I go run the wires, long lengths of wires, you guys saw from the quick attic shots we've been showing you that there's not a ton of wire, not a ton of congestion going down the walkway. We like to keep it that way. So even though it'd be a lot easier to run the wire down that walkway, I'm not going to do that because then it's going to be hard to walk in the future. So try to keep wire up and out of the way as much as possible, keep it as neat as possible. And I'm going to finish running this wire. I'm going to do it off camera. It takes too long to do it on camera. Go ahead and finish running this wire and we'll get the next step in a minute. With all of my wiring installed, it's time to install the speakers. So, most of you guys are probably just going to install your speakers straight away. No big deal if that's what you choose to do. I'm actually going to use some acoustic sound boxes. These are made by a company called Dynamat. This is called the Dynabox. It's an in-ceiling speaker box designed to help make your speaker sound better, and it also keeps the sound from traveling to other rooms. And so when you have the speakers inside the attic, the sound really has the tendency to travel to lots of different rooms all throughout the house, all on the same floor. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install this box. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gut it. See all this stuff in here? Pull all this stuff out. So it's like this. Now it's gonna be pretty flimsy. Okay, I need to cut a little hole in the back. Just gonna put a little X over here in the corner. One slice. And another slice. So I can put my wire through. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. These things, these boxes, I mean, it's a night and day difference. Just they just really block the sound. My gosh, they do an amazing job of keeping the sound traveling from other rooms. So you can see my hole. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but my hole's cut a little sideways. It's closer to this side because my speaker is kind of close to the stud here. There's a stud right up there. So in order to make room, I had to get my speaker closer to the stud, which meant there wasn't going to be much room here for the box to fit. So mine's a little lopsided. I did that on purpose. Pull the wire through, fold the box up. This can be a little messy because some of that insulation is going to fall out. These aren't easy to bend, especially since this one's cold. Ugh. There we go. Once it's in there, stuff it up in there. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Lots of insulation falling. Now you want to try to get this thing to have a tight seal against the ceiling. So try not to let any insulation get between the box and the ceiling, which will allow sound to leak. Push it that way. Push it that way. Lift it up and clean out this stuff. Okay, then I line up the hole. I just put my template on the box. The box just has a kind of a small hole in it. Whew, that is dusty. But the box needed a bigger hole than the factory hole, so just put your template on top of the box, cut it out, whatever shape you need. All right, that looks pretty good. Pull the slack. You're gonna grab the guts, put the guts back in the box. Oh man, I am a mess. The floor is a mess too. Clean all that up. Okay, the first thing's this little pad. It's got a sticky on the back. Not super easy to take off. I always struggle with these things. I'm not gonna lie, these boxes they're not giving them away. They're a little expensive. But I think they're worth it. I mean, it makes your speakers sound better. Lets people sleep at night that are in other rooms and listen to the surround sound, or in my case, the way my attic is designed, when I turn on sound in the attic, even my heater, I can hear it outside my house. So I don't want the neighbors to get mad at me when I turn up the volume on Transformers or something. Okay, I got the sticky off. Go ahead and stick this to the top of the box. Whoa, pretty sticky. No science to this, you just kind of stick it up in there, then stick it to the top. Alright, next is this guy. This is the wrap lining of the box. When installing your speaker, it doesn't matter if you have a soundproof box in there or not. It's pretty much the same installation. Almost every in-ceiling speaker I've installed has the same procedure. You've got 4 screws, 4 screw holes in the front. You turn the screws, there's a little flap on the back that twists. That little flapper right there twists when you turn the screw. It grips the back of the drywall and squeezes the speaker up above the ceiling, so it holds it in place. So that's pretty much the same. We're going to go ahead and strip this wire. What I like to do is take my strippers, score it, not cut all the way through the jacket, just score it. Get rid of the outside rubber coating. With most professional grade speaker wire, there's a string also. There's a string also involved in it. So when you score it, you run the chance of damaging the wire underneath. So that's why the string's there. After you score it, you pull the string and it rips the jacket, exposing fresh wire that hasn't been scratched yet. So cut off all the rubbish. Now, you guys aren't going to use this at home probably, but I'm using a speaker cable. It's called 14-4. So instead of one speaker needs 2 wires, and I'm using 14 gauge. So if I ran a wire that was 14-2, it would be one 14 gauge cable that had 2 14 gauge wires inside of it. I ran 14-4 because that's what I had, which means I have 2 extra wires. I'm just going to cut them off. I don't need them. I'm only using red and black here. Okay. The 4 conductor wire is twice as expensive as 2 conductor, but I already had it. So then you're going to strip off about 1/2 inch. Okay. Now grab your speaker. How you connect the speaker to the wire is usually pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to hook it to the terminals. Here I've got a red and black. So red goes to red, black goes to black. When you connect it, it's pretty simple. You just want to make sure that you don't have any rubber underneath the connector. Okay, you only want copper underneath the connector, and you don't want any of the copper from your wire to accidentally touch something else that it's not supposed to, some random coil or the other connector or whatever. So make sure it's tight, looks good. If there's any settings on the back, which some of your fancier speakers will have settings on the back, make sure all your settings are correct. I'm looking at all my settings, they're correct. Red goes to red, black goes to black. Alright, looks good. Okay, then you just put your slack up in the ceiling and put your speaker up in the ceiling. Mine is a tight fit because I've got that box in here. Just like that. Then take your drill. When you tighten it, it doesn't take much. Okay, remember these are just plastic tabs. Don't go crazy on these things and try to like super tighten it up, because you'll bust those tabs off on the back. So be careful when you're using a drill. I like to go, and as soon as I feel the drill tighten up even a little bit, done. Don't do any more. Having a hard time. There it goes. Boom. As soon as it tightens up, you're done. Done. See, that one's tightening up. That one's tightening up before it even had a chance to spin. So I think that one's not even spinning off the edge. Double check that one. That one's in right now, and that one's in right now. Gotta get the last 2. Maybe it was this one that was in. That one's in. It's a tricky one to find the screw tip with this. Generally, they're really easy to find. This particular speakers. Kind of a pain. Really nice speaker. Really nice speaker. It's hard to line up the screw tip. There we go. Feels really solid. It's in. It's in there really solid. All right. That's exactly how you're going to put in your speakers, just like that. And now we'll go over how to do a front speaker. Oh, one more step. The grill. The grill. Some of you guys will have grills that kind of like insert in. They're kind of a pain in the butt. Sometimes they have a tight fit and they don't want to fit in there very well. So just have to be patient. This one is magnetic. So it should just click on just like so. And the speaker's all done.